Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the White Sun Paladin, and today I'm going to share with you these two silo designs for bulk storage of your items. They come with indicator lights so you have a quick view of just how much is stacked up in your silo. So for a real demonstration, let's go ahead and toss some of these in. And you'll see the lights go kind of crazy because the way the wiring works we'll discuss in a moment, but all those items are being detected as they come down the chute. Once they all settle down, you'll know just how many of these chests are full. So, that is the stacked silo. Over here I have the sequential silo. It does the same thing, but all of the items can make it all the way down to the chest. So if you take something out of the bottom here, it will start loading up from the rest of your bulk storage. And you still get the same indicators for just how much is left in there. Ta-da! So let's run through some of the basics for both of these things. You can see I've done it lined up on both sides here. You can build them left or right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything other than the setup for how you'd like for it to look. If you do build them in the mirror here, you can push them right up next to each other and they will not interfere with each other. The redstone will not cause any problems. Same for that one. You can do them in mirror images of each other and push them right up against each other. However, for both of these, you do have to keep a space between them if you do it in series. Otherwise, when this chest fills up and that hopper behind it gets a signal, it will power this block, and if they're pushed right up next to this one, it will lock this hopper up, and then your items will not come down to this bottom chest here. Same as on that side. If you lock up that hopper by powering the block next to it, your items won't be able to make it through. And that's much more of a pain with this sequential design than with the stacked design, because your items will just not go down to this hopper and they'll just be shunt to this chest instead, which you have access to. In this design, they'll be stuck here and unable to get down to the access chest. So we'll quick run through these and then I'll explain what these contraptions on the end are for. Got a little, don't pay too much attention to these numbers. This is really based on how tall you want to build it, which is you can build them as tall as you'd like. You could build them all the way up to height limit if you wanted, but then I don't know how you'd put items inside there. So here's how we're going to start. We're going to make one that's 5 blocks tall. So we have our 5 indicator lamps. These are redstone lamps, just so we're all on the same page with what's happening here. Stack of chests. We'll put hoppers into the back side of all of these, and I will explain how this works. They all need to be pointing into the chests. And then, what happens is when an item enters a hopper, it checks to try and go down first into another hopper. So as long as there's a hopper with an empty space underneath, the item will move down before it moves laterally. And you will get your items all moving to the very lowest chest that they can get to. However, there is a problem where this breaks, and that is if you put 2 items in, you can see that it's dropping by 2. That's because one item is trying to move down. One item is moving all the way, or is unable to move down, so it moves to the side, because there are 2 possibilities for items to exit that hopper. That'll go for another video at another time, but that's how your hoppers work, and that's why this system works the way it does. So, if you have a very high-powered farm like a bamboo farm or a sugarcane farm, or now anything where you might have a lathe dropping your items in great numbers or mass numbers, they will they can clog up the hopper well enough that you'll get some of your items going into any of these other boxes, which can be annoying. It's not a, end of the world scenario, but it can be annoying, and then you can feel like you don't have all of your items out of the box, and nothing works its way down once it's into a chest. So there it will stay, and you may never know. You'll wonder where that last block of netherite disappeared to. So at any rate, you see I put a comparator in here, and what a comparator does is it looks into this hopper, and if there is any item inside the hopper, that lights up and says this is a signal. I will send this signal onward, and it sends it to this blue block, which powers this redstone lamp. So we can't just run another comparator on top of a comparator. That doesn't work, so we're going to need to do something a little creative. I'm using light blue and lime concrete just to differentiate what the different circuits are doing. You can use whatever solid block that you'd like to use. This will take some temporary blocks too, so bring a handful of those along with you. Put another comparator, checks in the hopper, sends a signal to here. This block will get powered, but then, as we can see, we can't power one block to another block to something else, so we need a way to repeat the signal, which is not there. There, the redstone repeater. If it gets a signal, it repeats the signal out the other side. So, now this block is powered. We'll do this again. Redstone repeater to this block, now powered. That will power the redstone lamp, assuming that there's something in the chest to be detected. Oop, and it's sending them down because I forgot my own speech a moment ago about how hoppers work. Oop, well, goodness. All right, and they've already made it all the way down there. So that's how that works. And you can see that this one will do the same thing. That's got power to that comparator now, and our redstone lamp is lit up. Perfect. And all we do now is repeat this pattern all the way up the backs of these things. Like I said, there's a lot of temporary bricks that need to go in place, and you'll need to take them out afterwards. So just be aware of that. There's a lot of shift clicking involved in building these things too. Oh, and finally, that one. And once again, comparator, checking the hopper, repeaters to repeat the signal onward, and we'll turn all of you into redstone engineer undergrads here pretty quickly if we keep it up. And there we have it. It is that simple, and you can do it. Whoops, we did forget one though, didn't we? Alright, now we are completed. You'll see on my other ones that I've pre-built here, I have hoppers sticking out like chimneys. This is so later on if we want to add an item filter, we have enough room that that circuit doesn't interfere with these circuits. But that's a video for another time. This is what you need for a bulk item storage silo, and that's a stacked variety. And I'll show you how to build the sequential variety here real quick. We'll just also do another 5. These ones are all built out to 7, or the tall ones are anyways. I did 5 just for the examples, but build to 7 because in survival mode, 7 is currently the farthest that we can reach. So 7 blocks up, you can still have access to your items. Now you can build some sort of deck setup so that you're approaching your silo here and can reach all the way down and all the way up. The world is your oyster in that regard. You do however you'd like to, but this is why I designed the sequential one, is after I noticed my items getting caught up in the other chests and wanted them to go all the way to the bottom without me having to search through every single one of my stacked silos. But honestly, either one has their strengths and weaknesses. If you want easy access to everything and you know that your farm or wherever your supply is coming from is just going to fill that silo up real fast, then you might just want to stick with the stacked one so that you can pull out from the chests all your items and stuff them into shulker boxes real quick for fast transport to whatever project you're working on. This one works essentially the same way, except part of the circuit is cut off. And here I'm not even paying attention to what I'm supposed to be teaching you. All right. So this is how we build the sequential one. And we'll take and stack up our chests like this. And the major drawback when you do use this silo is that if you get something in there that you would rather is not in there, it has to work its way all the way down to the bottom, or you have to have some kind of maintenance access to the side here. Otherwise, you're going to wait a long time or have to empty out your whole silo. And that can be a pain in the neck. Alright, so the wiring, the blue circuit is exactly the same. We check the hopper, it goes directly across, lights up our indicator lamp. Now, the green circuit is actually a bit more cost effective on this design because it uses one less repeater, which doesn't seem like that makes an enormous amount of difference, but if you built a 75 layer tall silo, you can bet that that's going to save you some resources. So our comparator goes here, looks into the hopper, powers this block. Our block gives the signal to the repeater, which repeats the signal to this block, which powers our lamp. We'll do the same thing down here. And there we have it. We'll even demonstrate it working real quick. That's all there is to it. So finally, one variation that you might like to use is one where you can have access to this at, say, ground level or the floor where you're working in whatever project. And you can have your silo filling up to this point and you stop it from going any further. So you reach in here and you grab out all of your netherite that you need. And then you think, oh, well, I'm done with this project, but I'm keeping the silo. So you flip this switch, and now your netherite can move down here to just an extension of the silo that we've built. And there it is. So you have more storage, and then the next time that you need it for easy access, flip the switch, which will power this block, and it will also power the quote-unquote block of the switch, which locks up both of these hoppers. So this hopper underneath the box, as you see, points back to that hopper, which points into this chest, and then the sequence goes on again. But now that those hoppers are locked up, because we gave them power, your items are staying in that chest and not moving down any further. We turn it off, and away they go. Same thing over here. This is actually a bit easier because it does power the block that it's in, and it powers the block that it's attached to, this switch does, and it locks up this hopper. So nothing will move down through this hopper, or it shouldn't be. Oh, that's because I turned it off. Now it's on. And we'll try that again. So we'll put them in here. And they're going to go to the chest. But they don't go to this hopper beneath because that's powered and locked. So like I told you before, the hoppers will try to send the item down, and that hopper being powered and locked up will behave as if there is no space for an item to go in it. So all items will move that way. So anyways, I thank you for coming by my video. These are my storage silos. Happy to have you here. Please like if you liked it. Give me a subscribe if you're feeling that kind of generous, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. White Sun Paladin out.